This is Les Sylphides, the Chopin ballet that I did last year for the Australian Ballet. It needed a set that sort of echoed the romantic mood of the ballet itself. I based the set on Caspar David Friedrich, the great romantic painter, and I thought it's got to look something like that. It's got to have that quality. Technically, it was a joy to paint. I mean, it's made up of a series of cut cloths, which are these side bits, and a backdrop. It's very simple. We decided we'd use the old trick in the theatre of backlighting the backdrop. The bits I wanted to have lit around the moon on the sky and the water, I painted that very thinly, like a watercolour. And I painted the bits I wanted to appear solid, like the bridge, in a more opaque paint. So when it was lit from the front and the back, it had a lovely sort of distance. And we underlit it in a way, because after all, when it's all said and done, the most important people in this production are the people who are dancing in front of that. The younger ones in the studio helped me do it, and did it very well, I might say. I do every year a set for the Port Fairy Spring Music Festival. So I hit on the idea of basing the set on Port Fairy itself, and it had to link with music because it's a music festival. So I did music lines down the design, and I made all the lampposts where the lights are that became notes. And Port Fairy, being an old whaling town, has these marvellous stone buildings in it, and it's a great place for yachting. So boats and houses are the things that I thought I've got to incorporate that somehow or other. So that was last year's one. And the year before that, I did again a version of the town and water and music. I like painting landscape. I don't paint out of doors, I do drawings that you might be able to see on the wall behind me. And then work them up when I'm home. A place I find an extraordinary place is Hanging Rock. I find it a very sinister place. Perhaps that's the hangover from the movie or something. So I've been working on a painting of Hanging Rock. The difference between scene designing and painting is, in scene designing, you're given a theme and you embellish that theme. The difference in painting, of course, is you have to say what you want to say completely in the painting. You can see the link between what I do as a designer and what I do as a painter. This is the Hanging Rock drawing that I based that painting on. That's what I do all the time, just a rough sketch that gives me the sort of feeling of the place, and then I come back and develop it into the painting. But a lot of these on this wall are notes I've made when I've been out in the country and attracted by a view or a building or whatever it is. The drawing is the skeleton of the work. And it sounds old-fashioned these days to say drawing is the basic craft of painting, but I'm sure it is. It has been for centuries, and I think it still is. I was asked to do lots of talks about the history of how a stage developed and the theatre in Australia, so I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I had a model? And so the curtain goes up, and I've painted the scenery to look like as the sort of scenery that would have been used in a Victorian theatre, because it was before movies and films, so everything was naturalistic. I decided I'd do a series of backdrops about Australia, and this one is a view of Collins Street in 1854, I think, that I took from a print. It's a sort of Englishy, oldie-worldy landscape. And then I decided I'd paint the back wall with some scenic artists up in the loft painting some scenery, but you can't see them from here. And bits of scenery leaning against the wall and all that sort of stuff. And the front curtain would have been a painted curtain, like that. Not a curtain as we're used to now. And the only theatre that's got one of these at the moment is Her Majesty's Theatre in Ballarat. because I painted one for them for their 100th anniversary.